Hey everybody, thank you for watching my Beretta APX review. Before I get started, just wanted to express my condolences to the people in Las Vegas for what happened yesterday at the hands of a psychopath. Unfortunately, politicians want to take advantage of a catastrophe like this and start blaming the other side, and before the blood's even dried in the sidewalks, before it's even cleaned up. It's just, you got politicians, the bloodthirsty opportunists they are, blaming other sides and calling for gun control. And I'll just say this, that you can never regulate evil out of people. You can't. And that's why prisons are full, and that's why they always will be. People will take their freedom and their rights and they'll stretch it out, they'll cross a line, and they'll mess up. And that's what happened here. Somebody took their freedom, somehow they got a hold of this automatic weapon, and they did an awful thing. And politics have no place whatsoever in this. It's just a time to let these families grieve and mourn and kind of try to process what happened. It's a sad thing. So prayers definitely go to those people in Vegas. So I did come here to do a gun review, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. If you have not seen my first impressions video, I encourage you to go watch it. It's got some range work as well as my first impressions of the Beretta APX, which were very favorable. And the first thing we're going to do is look at this target that I used in that video. But before I get there, I will tell you guys what I planned on doing with the APX, and that is buying it cheap, doing some videos with it, shooting it, seeing what I thought about it, and sending it down the road and selling it. I got a really good deal on this gun to do exactly that, and I missed 2 guns on Gun Broker that went for more than I was willing to pay for the gun before I knew how good it was, and I ended up picking it up finally. Nobody outbid me on one for $389. So shipped, FFL, transfer fee, everything, I'm in it for like $420, $427. So I'm thinking at that price, if I don't like it, I'll be able to flip it, break even at least after playing with it for a while and doing some videos. Little did I know how much I would like this gun, and I like it a lot. I will get into the gun in just a second. For now, let's look at the target that we used during the shooting initial impression review. You see that's right, pretty good holes there, through the face area on the headshots. I started out with a pretty slow cadence from 10 yards and then developed a pretty quick cadence. The sights just really came down nicely and allowed me to put shots where they should be. Some of those were also moving drills where I aimed for the head and hit. So into the torso, again, nice big giant hole there. A few got away from me out wide a little bit, but for shooting, support hand, strong hand, physics tell us we're not going to shoot one hand as well as we do 2, and so some of those are a result of that. Overall, I'm very happy for self-defense. Any of those rounds will do just fine in real life. All right, I generally don't go over the case very much in a review, but this case is a little different. Now, the slide on the APX is kind of controversial. People don't like it. They think it's ugly. Well, we're going to talk about that a little later. Beretta obviously doesn't care if you think it's ugly, because they even put the same serrations on their case. Seeing as how I think those serrations are awesome, I think the case is pretty cool as well. So let's see what's in it. You got your gun, magazine in it, 2 extra back straps as well as 1 on the gun, a small, medium, and large. You've got 2 17-round magazines. You've got your cleaning brush, your lock, and your magazine loader. And I know some people think, yeah, the magazine loaders are junk, the lock is stupid, and I've said the same thing, but you know what, at least they put it in there, and it makes for a nice presentation. It looks good, and it looks like they took that extra care to put it in. Now, I'm going to show you a couple of things here. I probably wouldn't normally pull out a warranty card on a gun, but man, Beretta, they put it inside of a plastic sleeve, and to me that says class. It's professional. I really like what they did there, so really cool. They actually have a manual that you can read and it works. And I'm going to show you guys, it's color coded. There we go. So if I go to page 27 and I'm looking for part A, I'm going to find part A highlighted. So if you're working on the gun, you're trading a part out, you're going to be able to see color coded exactly what you're doing. It's just a very cool feature in a manual that's actually usable. I mean, that's pretty rare. So, all right. So we said we had 2 magazines with the gun, so let's talk about them. First of all, guys, these are only about 35, 36 bucks. They're really pretty inexpensive for quality magazines. These are made by Metgar, Italian-made mags. They have a chrome black finish. It's blued, so it's just really sweet. Just looks nice, I think. Really, really nice. A couple of features of the mags. There's this little boot right here that actually works when you put it in the gun. I'll show you in a little bit. You could rip that on a boot, on a table, on a car, on a truck, whatever you needed to do to rip the magazine out if need be, as well as swells on the side where you can reach up in the gun, rip the magazine out if you had to. Now there's a little triangle on the magazine, and what that is, I'll just show you how it works, is there's a groove inside of the grip of the APX, and then that slides into it. There's a little lock that slides under that, and when you push the mag release, it drops out of the way. Okay, it slides out of the way and the magazine can drop. I'm curious to see how long that's going to last, if it's going to be better than just a slot cut in the magazine. It feels very solid, very rigid, seems like it's going to be good. We'll have to see over the long haul. And keep in mind, this review I'm doing is going to be just my experience, and the features is what we're going to talk about. As far as longevity goes, durability, reliability over the long term, it's going to take rounds to put through this gun. It's going to take 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years before we really see how good this gun is. But I can tell you the features on it and the shootability, top notch. They did a fantastic job on this gun. Let's start with ergonomics. If I pick a gun up, I don't like the feel of the grip, I don't like the balance, I put it back. I'm just not interested. Now, seeing as how I bought this gun sight unseen, I'd never held an APX before I bought this thing. I pulled it out at the gunsmith, I held it, and I thought, that feels nice. I like it. It's balanced, it points naturally, I see the sights right down the slide. It's nice and flat. It feels really nice in the hand. Really, really nice. Now they've got 3 back straps, as I said. The medium is on it. The large has a dovetail, obviously a small one. And I'm going to show you guys the checkering and all on the strap. It's easier than holding the gun up. It's got like 1911 style checkering on the back. The sides are stippled with the Beretta Trident. Very, very nice looking grip. I just think the grip of the pistol looks really nice. And what they did also is they tied in the finger grooves to look a lot like that slide. I think that's really cool. It looks complete. It looks well thought out and finished. The grip matches the slide. It doesn't look like you built a Frankenstein gun and just threw a slide on some other grip or dust cover. So very, very nicely done. The finger grooves are the best I've ever felt. They're so subtle that as you close your eyes and you grip the gun, you don't know you're in finger grooves. I think that's a really, really nice feature. You don't feel them and go, hey, the finger grooves feel good. You just put your gun on it and it just feels like it sits in the hand nice with no finger grooves at all. So very nicely done there, Beretta as well. Let's talk mag release. It's a teardrop shape. It does have some texturing on it, so it's easy to get to, whether your hands are wet, muddy, slick, oily, bloody, whatever. And it's responsive. You don't have to smash the heck out of it to pop the magazine. It works beautifully. As a matter of fact, it works if you push on the back of the mag release. Make sure I'm in view. Back of the mag release. Make sure I'm in the camera view. And then if you just push on the front, same thing. So it's very responsive. Probably the best sprung magazine release I've felt. It just works, and it works really, really nicely. Let's look at the slide release. A couple things about the slide release. It's very narrow, ambidextrous. So if we take a look on both sides, the whole gun's pretty slim, guys. There's not a lot of stuff, including a takedown lever, sticking out on the gun. So you may think it's this big, giant hulk of a gun, but it's really not. Yeah, it's a duty size, but it doesn't have a lot of stuff on it. So slide releases, it works. It's a beautiful thing. I've seen a lot of pistols that you can push all you want. You can't get it to work. You've got to adjust your grip, or you got to hit it with the other hand, or you've got to come over the top and rack it. This actually works. And Beretta did a fantastic job with the placement. They moved the slide release forward toward the muzzle. So when you take your thumb forward grip, see it in there, your thumbs do not hit it. So in 250 rounds with those magazines, I haven't had a problem with it locking back after the last round. So the magazine, or the slide release and slide lock, works to release the slide. It's low profile, and it's in a spot that's not going to inhibit the slide locking back. Very, very cool. So we already talked about magazines. Let me show you what I was talking about earlier. There's a little shoe, kind of a little hook, where if you needed to catch that on something, rip the magazine out, you could. As well as you see the cutout above and the width of the mag, same thing. You can grab that thing nicely and rip it out if you had to. We talked about breaking the gun down at the range. I was being humorous and sarcastic. I'm going to go ahead and break it down again for you here, just to prove to you it wasn't a fluke. I know I did it a couple times at the range. It wasn't beginner's luck. It's really simple to do. All right, dead trigger. We're going to push on this button, which is the opposite side of the takedown lever. It's under spring tension. So you push it, pull the lever down, it's off. The APX is a modular gun, so this part right here is serialized, okay? So this whole thing can come out. My plan is to do a video on how to remove that, how to change the back straps, how to reverse the magazine release also, just to show people that this gun is not as cumbersome and difficult as people pretend it is online. So the positive is, when you have a gun that has this fire control group, is you've got long, beefy rails. Going to lend itself to more robust, thicker rails. They have to kind of thicken those up since they come out as one piece. If they put them in two pieces, maybe a rail here and a rail here, might be a little flimsy if they weren't sitting inside of the frame. So those are nice, beefy, strong. I really like that. Now you can pick up black, wolf gray, flat dark earth, and olive drab green frames for about 50 bucks a piece. I really like the look of one I saw with the wolf gray frame and the black back straps. You might be seeing that on my channel pretty soon. So let's move on. The slide. First thing you're going to notice on the slide is it's got sights. It's got steel sights, not plastic junk sights that some people like to ship with their guns and then say, well, it keeps costs down. This Beretta is right in there with everything else cost-wise. As a matter of fact, it's less expensive than some. And it's got steel sights. 3 dots. The front dot is large, which when you look at it and scale it, it makes the dot about the same size as the rear sights, or maybe even a little bit larger to appear a little bit larger. So, not bad. Until the aftermarket has sights on this, for the APX, I'll probably run these. Trijicon HDs are available for it right now, but I don't want the big, giant, tall, razor-sharp sights on the gun. As much as I like HDs, I'm kind of over them. I'm frustrated with their design. They need to change it, and make it better suitable for concealed carriers. We're not going to get into barrel and slide construction. All your major manufacturers, you're good gun guys. I mean, your finishes are good. Your materials are outstanding. If they weren't, we'd have guns blowing up all over the place, and that's not typical. This seems to be an issue with some people, the way the recoil spring works. And I think it's silly to make a big deal out of the appearance of something that is strictly for function. This doesn't have to look good as long as it works. Now, if it goes 6 months, 8 months down the road and they're failing like crazy, all right, you guys complaining about the way it looks, I'll give it to you. I'll say, well, it's not only ugly, but it doesn't work. This works. Everything I've seen, people love the recoil impulse feel of the APX, including me. It's a very soft shooting gun, and we obviously know the recoil spring is a reason for that. So let's put it back together. When we rack it, it puts the takedown lever right back where it's supposed to be. 2 things left to talk about on this gun, actually 3. Let's talk about recoil mitigation since we're talking about the recoil spring. Generally on pistols, you'll see grooves, you'll see people stipple, you'll even see them raise a ledge sometimes on the polymer where your thumb rides. Beretta did one better. If you notice that thickness, they actually have a ledge, stock ledge, to put your thumb on top to help control muzzle rise. Bring those sights right back down on target for follow-up shots. So that is a really cool feature, Beretta. Very, very nice. We're going to talk trigger, we're going to talk slide. First and foremost, the trigger. I'm just going to run it a couple times and then we'll talk after. You notice a couple of things. The trigger take-up is short. That's it. Guys, you pretty much take the slack out by removing the safety. So when you push that safety dingus in, your slack's out and you're at the wall. And a nice brake. Now it doesn't have a glass rod feeling brake, but it's got a nice clean brake. Kind of reminds me of the SIG P320. The reset is short, tactile, audible, and it's not oversprung. Now some people have complained that the reset on the APX doesn't spring out hard enough. I don't want my finger to spring off the trigger where I have to find the trigger, find the wall, and press it. I like the way this goes. You're right there at reset, you're right on the wall for a quick follow-up shot. So excellent trigger, guys. It is sweet. It's a wide trigger too. Forgot to mention that. It's wide, so it's kind of a flat face feeling trigger, which I believe Apex actually has an aftermarket trigger if you guys are into that, just so you're aware. The slide. 3 trains of thought on the slide. Number 1, that is the ugliest slide I've ever seen. I would never own that gun. It's too bad, because you might be missing out on the best gun ever for you just because of a slide appearance. Number 2, people say that is an ugly slide, but it's functional, so I don't mind it. All right, I respect that. Number 3, people like me, it's functional and I think it looks sweet. Keep in mind, this slide is for battle. This was built as a duty gun, built to rack off of a police car, a tank, a tree, a rock, a boot, a plate carrier, your belt, holster. Whatever needs to be done, these will grab hold of it and rack the gun. And I can tell you right now, there is a big channel online. The guy likes to get his guns muddy, dirty, wet. He swears that these are underwhelming and he doesn't like them. Well, they work. They work sweaty, they work dirty, they work wet. I have tried them and they work perfectly. They're sharp. These serrations are sharp, guys. Not cut-worthy sharp, but they work. I mean, they grab from anywhere. They're just phenomenal. Best serrations I've ever felt on a handgun. They're just awesome. So for someone to say that they're no good or they're underwhelming, 2 things. Either you have an agenda against this gun, or number 2, you've got the hands of a 6-year-old girl. So maybe it's both. I don't know. But the slide serrations work. So let's just wrap up with this. The Beretta APX is a really, really sweet gun. When I first purchased it, I planned on selling it pretty quick. It's actually climbing up to the top of my favorites list, guys, even ahead of my VP9s. Maybe it's not there yet, but I can tell you that the balance of this gun, the trigger, the ergonomics, the control location, the ledge, Beretta thought of everything on this gun for a stock pistol. They knocked it out of the park. I absolutely love this gun. And from what I'm understanding, next year we could have a compact or subcompact version. So when that happens, look out. That one hits the market as long as this one does well, and that one may sell a ton as long as Beretta keeps up with the good marketing. Now in closing, I'm going to say this. Right now when you buy an APX, I believe it's through the middle of October, so you have a couple of more weeks. You buy an APX, you get 3 free magazines and a holster. Pretty sweet deal, about $155 value there. So I encourage you guys, if you are thinking about the APX, pun intended, pull the trigger. It's a sweet gun, and you guys will see it on this channel much more. As a matter of fact, coming up, you'll see more videos with it. You'll probably see some comparison videos with maybe VP9, PPQ. So stay tuned for that. Always appreciate you guys watching. Beretta APX, it's a great one.